everything you need to know about Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz's boxing rematch coming up on today's episode of the Happy Punch News. And welcome back to the Happy Punch News. I'm your host, Donna Corby, here with a load of stories for you. Let's start off with the breaking one. While I was editing this video, it was actually pretty much edited, and then we get this announcement of the Misfits 12 card. 2 new fights. The main event, Ed Matthews will now fight a mystery opponent. Ed Matthews' best friend, HS Tiki Taki, was of course supposed to headline against Teo Ricci, who I guess is just out in the cold. So now HS Tiki Taki unable to compete because of obviously a few issues with his own. They've brought in his mate Ed. I don't really know how that works, by the way. You're okay with Ed Matthews, but you're not okay with HS. Regardless, he's going to fight a mystery opponent. For the first time in Misfits boxing history, you have a mystery opponent as the main event. We've had a couple before. Halal Ham was one. Arms Corleone was one. Obviously, the great Pineda and B-Dave fight was the most famous mystery opponent, and we have it back for Ed Matthews, who's coming off the back of a tremendous 7-second knockout of Swarms on the Prime card back in October.
Really throwing much. Oh, big shots come forward. Oh, and he's down! Huge left hook right to start for Ed Matthews.
I told you Ed Matthews going to come out firing. Oh, he's hurt him. He's like, hey, wow, wait, hey, slow down, mate. Hey, slow down, mate.
He's going to get up, and it's
It's
over.
over. I told you, he's going to come out the gate firing.
And what I'm most excited about is the second fight they added to the card today, which is a heavyweight, surely title decider. It has to be a title decider between Minikon and Happy Punch's own Chase D'Amour. Chase is back in the ring, looking for finally a boxing victory, although I personally think he's got 2 already. I reckon he beat Stevie Knight. That was a terrible call to disqualify him after he'd done the knockout. I think the referee was to blame for not getting in there sooner. Either way, Chase didn't win that one, and then he had his fight with Tempo Arts for the heavyweight title at the Prime card, and a lot of people felt he won that fight again. I'm biased, I'm a Happy Punch guy, I'm friends with Chase, but I personally thought he had won that fight as well, but it was a split decision loss. And Chase D'Amour is back. This is a massive grudge fight between these two guys. They've agreed to do it on just a few days' notice. What a hero Chase is. Always saving Misfits in their hour of need by coming in on late notice. He did it against Alan Belcher, one of the toughest fights an influencer has ever taken, against the former UFC star, the bare knuckle champion Alan Belcher, and now he's doing it again against a little bit of an easier opponent, Minikon. They've been hyping it up for the last few days. Everyone thought because they were so brazen about leaking it that maybe it wasn't going to happen and it was all just like a promotional thing. No other fights have fallen off the card. Shout out to both Minikon and Chase D'Amour for taking that fight. They were training partners before, they worked together. It's super exciting to see them finally settle this feud. They trained at Jackrabbit Boxing together. Now Chase is at Brickhouse. Minikon coming off the back of a really weird fight with Arms Corleone. For the second time, he lost the fight on the scorecards, but Arms left on a stretcher while Minikon was able to walk out of there healthy. I've never seen anything like it before. So this is a massive fight between 2 guys who are a little bit underrated on the Misfits scene, and 2 big heavyweights. What do you guys reckon? Do these 2 extra fights make this card a bit more palatable? My favorite part about it is there's now 3 Happy Punch fighters on the card. We've got Fox the G against Small Spartan J. We've got Ben Williams against Fez Batista. And now we've got the heavyweights, Chase D'Amour and Minikon. Our next story, we're heading over to the UFC, and Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion, has announced a 3-date season for a super period of activity over 7 or 8 months. First, he's going to fight on a previously unannounced June 8th UFC pay-per-view, which I'm a bit confused about because Conor McGregor's out on the 29th on pay-per-view International Fight Week. So we'll see how serious he is about that. On that card, he's going to fight Justin Gaethje, the BMF champion, who of course his teammate Khabib has already defended his title against. Somehow, despite his big losses in the world title fights against Khabib and against Charles Oliveira, Gaethje manages to cling on to relevancy. 2 big wins in 2023 got him to this position, and he's going to fight for the title in June. Then Islam wants to be back out in November at the Madison Square Garden show. At that point, he's going to face the winner of Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira. So there's a lot of confusion in Islam's season. He also says he's going to fight in February against whoever the next contender at lightweight is. He's giving them a year to develop themselves as a potential opponent. But what's confusing to me about this whole thing is he's going to fight in June, right? Okay, we'll see about that. He literally said last month that he's not interested in rematches. And now he's talking about a rematch with Charles Oliveira. Where's all this coming from? Particularly Oliveira, it wasn't exactly the closest fight ever. It was pretty dominant from Islam, and he just did a rematch with Volkanovski. So apparently he's going back on his words. Now he does want to fight Oliveira. Of course, that's if Oliveira beats Arman Tsarukyan. But apparently he's out 3 times in 7 or 8 months. June against Gaethje, November against Oliveira or Tsarukyan, and then he's apparently going to do a fight in February. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen or not, and we don't know who that opponent's going to be yet. Lightweight division, time to step up, time to get yourself in title contention for Islam Makhachev. And our next story is the title of the video. Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz are boxing each other later this year. Happy Punch, we're the ones who broke the news. You saw it everywhere. You saw it on Ariel Helwani. You saw it on MMA Fighting. You saw it on IFL. But everybody crediting us, crediting Happy Punch, except for one guy. Come on, Michael Benson. Come on, bro. You know it was Happy Punch that broke the story. You credited Ariel. And Ariel's tweet credited us. Come on, bro. You got to do better than that. But everybody talking about it. So here is what we know so far. The fight is happening in March of this year. It's going to be in boxing, not MMA, the sport where they fought the last time at UFC 244 in Madison Square Garden for the BMF title. It's happening in Las Vegas. And despite the fact that Masvidal has his own promotion, it's actually being promoted by Fanmio. Remember the guys who gave us Mayweather versus Logan Paul? They are back. They did the Arnold Classic. They did Logan Paul's Slap Fighting Championship with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fanmio are back in the boxing game for this fight. Does anyone remember that first fight? UFC 244, BMF title on the line. It was a back and forth type of a fight. Masvidal got the stoppage win, but it was a doctor who stopped the fight. And a lot of people felt that that wasn't the right way for the BMF title to be decided. Happy Punch also understands that Masvidal has been allowed to do this fight outside of his UFC deal. He retired last year, but that doesn't stop the deal the UFC had in place. They're allowing him to do this fight, much like when they allowed Ben Askren to fight Jake Paul in 2021. Nate Diaz is obviously a free agent. He just fought Jake Paul. So Masvidal versus Diaz 2 is happening later this year, and you heard it first on Happy Punch. And our final story of the day, Valentina Shevchenko is back, and she wants that trilogy with Alexa Grasso. We all saw last year one of the biggest upsets of the year at UFC 285 when Alexa Grasso tapped out the seemingly unbeatable Valentina Shevchenko to win that flyweight world title. And then they rematched at that Mexican Independence Day show in Las Vegas in September, and it was a draw, split decision draw. You almost never see that in MMA. It's 5 rounds. It's so rare you get a split decision draw. One judge had it one way, another judge had it the other, and the other said, you know what, it's a draw. So they're doing it again. Valentina Shevchenko has recovered from her hand injury. She is back at Tiger Muay Thai. They posted about her today, and it looks like she is heading for that trilogy fight. Anyway, that's all we have time for on today's episode of the Happy Punch News. I will see you all very soon. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you very shortly.